wish I had another mic for you, but I didn't know it was gonna go like this. Well, you're short, you shouldn't stand behind. It'd be hidden back there. How's that? Okay, well, no one's telling us, so I think that looks good. Just strike it bare.
Right, that's right, yeah. So
Rick, are you gonna sing this with us today? Okay.
he sent me this stress whatever he said when I imported those into my iPad. Well, no, I never get what he's going to say. Yeah, yeah. That's the one part that he leaves out. He was going to say what I supposedly came up with.
Yeah, this might be one that you need the pad for, actually.
Yeah, I think.
Use the wood.
Yeah, I'm not good at that one, but I am good at this one.
I like it if it works. You know, if we can get a bowl that does that.
The big one, the meditation area, that one I think would work.
It does.
Thank you for listening.
So we need to practice.
Good morning, everyone, to this Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse. My name is Susan Smith, and I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee. Here at UUCGT, we welcome people of every background, identity, ability, age, race, gender identity, sexual orientation, belief and doubt. We especially want to extend a heartfelt welcome to families with children. We're so glad that you are here. Children are not a distraction from worship, they are part of it. As spiritual people, we practice the art of staying curious and flexible. The joyful sounds and movements of our little ones are signs of life among us. And we are building a culture of inclusion and belonging that embraces them fully. Today's service invites us into the theme of sacred self-care, how we stay resilient. In a world that often asks more of us than we feel able to give, gathering like this is itself an act of care. We practice pausing, we practice listening, we practice being present with ourselves and with one another. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us online, whether it's your first time or your 100th, we're so glad that you're with us today. If you're visiting, we'd love to get to know you. If you're comfortable, we invite you to stand and introduce yourself. A microphone, I see Diane ready with a microphone, will be brought to you so everyone here and online will be able to hear your introduction. If you prefer not to speak, that's okay too. Just enjoy being with us this morning. Are there any visitors?
Oh, I have to speak. I'm Priscilla Edwards, and my sister Charlotte Summers. We just moved here to Traverse City, and our first time visiting. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm Lynn Tobin, and I'm a cellist in the community. I know a number of you, and my husband, Tim Sparling, is playing music this morning at the piano.
Welcome and thank you. If you're new to us we have one or two more people. Good.
Good morning, I'm Angela Brigham. This is my husband, Joe Brigham, and we're new to the area. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Angela and Joe. Well, welcome to all of our visitors, and hope you'll become regulars with us. After our service, during coffee hour, you're welcome to grab a yellow mug, which will allow us to identify you as someone new. That means that we may rush you and come over to chat a while and welcome you personally. Later in the service, we'll share the joys and concerns of our community. You're invited to write yours in the book to your left. They'll be read by Bill Hislop, a member of our congregational care team. You're also welcome to light a candle for your joy or concern at any point during the service. Sharing our stories, both tender and joyful, is one of the ways we practice resilience together. A couple of quick announcements. Join us after the service today for the first session of our UU Common Read, Social Change Now by Deepa Iyer. A light lunch is provided. This is an all-ages experience, so children and youth are welcome. And don't worry if you haven't read the book yet. We'll be walking through it together, so come as you are and jump in with us, the rest of us. As we begin today, let me give a couple more announcements. I have two from the Social Justice Action Team. We have 150 news-boosting postcards ready to be picked up at the table after today's service. You'll find everything you need for getting into good trouble as we do the important work of getting out the vote in Michigan's crucial midterm elections. And again, stop by the social justice table during coffee hour. Help make a difference in the primary August 4th and the general election November 3rd by texting our neighbors, singing and protesting at No Kings 3, which is coming up what date? 28th of March. And supporting our immigrant and migrant neighbors. As we begin, I invite you to gently set aside the busyness of daily life. Take a breath, relax, silence that cell phone and other electronic devices so we can be fully present with one another. Now, let us worship together.
My friends, as I've been contemplating resilience, I think about how song and movement are acts of resistance. Would you please stand and rise in body, art, and spirit and move, clap, stomp, sing, and let's make a noise together.
You ready? Okay. Well, I hope you're feeling awake, and I hope your heart is wide open. That's a nice way to kind of wake up together on a snowy Sunday. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, the senior minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. And welcome to this Sunday of self-care and resilience. As you settle into this sacred time, I invite you to receive these words, a poem titled Self-Care by James Cruz. He writes, "Some days it feels like a foreign language I'm asked to practice, with new words for happiness, work, and love. I'm still learning how to say, a cup of tea for no reason. What to call the extra honey I drizzle in, how to label the relentless urge to do and be more as a poison. And how to translate the heart's pounding message when it comes, enough, enough. This morning, I search for words to capture the glimmering sun as it lifts above the mountains, clouds already closing in as fat droplets of dark rain darken the deck. I'm learning to call this stillness self-care, too. Just standing here, watching the goldfinches scatter up from above the feeder like pieces of bright yellow stained glass, reassembling in the sheltering arms of a maple.
As we light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, please join me in reading the covenant words found on the back of your order of service. I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. In community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome all as we respond to the needs of the world. And now, let us sound the singing bowl, entering a time of stillness.
Would you please rise in body or in spirit? Join me in singing our opening hymn today, the virtual hymn, Love is at the Center. I believe in the power of giving. I believe in the power of change. I believe in the power of differences. I believe in love. Love is at the center. At the center is love. Love is at the center. At the center is love. I believe in the power of justice. I believe in the power of fairness. I believe in the love of life. I believe in love. Love is at the center. At the center is love. Love is at the center. One more time. Love is at the center. At the center is love. Love is at the center. At the center there is
Forward. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Ellie, thank you for being a helper. I appreciate that. Hi, it's good to see all of you. Until your arm gets tired, then I'm on my own. That is fair. Or we could be in community and we can all help each other out. All right, love bugs, good morning, good morning, good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Chelsea. I'm the Director of Lifelong Learning here at UUCGT. I use she and they pronouns. And this morning, we are talking about self-care. How do we take care of ourselves? What is something that you like to do for self-care? How do you take care of yourselves, friends? Anybody? Elliot? Sleep. It's a good one. I love a good nap. Ollie? Eat.
You've been waking me up like night because we've been having to sleep over my room. You've been keep waking me up.
Oh man, you're having interrupted sleep? Oh no, disaster. How else? So we said eating good food, sleeping. How else do we take care of ourselves? We sing. I love that. Ella, got another one? We feed ourselves. We eat good food. So my friends, I have this wheel of self-care this morning, and I don't know if all the grown-ups can see it very well, but I will explain it to them. Ta-da, wheel of self-care. So it has all of these different sort of areas. So this one says physical, so our bodies, how we take care of our bodies. This one says psychological, which is a big word that means your brain. How do you take care of your brain and your mind? Emotional, how do you take care of your heart? And then we go down here to professional, which might not apply so much to you all, but I think of this with when I'm talking to kids and young people about it. Think about like school. How do you take care of yourself in your schoolwork? And then personal and spiritual. So how do you take care of yourself and your heart? So we're going to work together. I wonder if we kind of lean it. Oh, there we go. Go team. We're going to work together to kind of list some different things in this wheel today. Because I think sometimes when we think about self-care, we maybe just think about taking care of our bodies, or we maybe think about like, I take a bubble bath, or I don't know. There's all kinds of different things, right? Yeah, you clean yourself by taking baths. That's very important. Absolutely. So, but we might not think of all of these things as self-care. So let's think about, and grown-ups, this is for you too, you can shout things out as well. How do we take care of ourselves in these different areas? So physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, personal, and professional. Anybody have any ideas? And then where it would go? So we already said eating good food. Where would that go? What are we taking care of then? Could fit in several. I feel like physical because it's taking care of your body, maybe? Physical is like your body. Oh, Miss Chelsea can't spell this morning. Eating good food.
What happened to the mouth?
What was the other one? Oh, sleep. Sleep was the other one we said. Yeah, Ellie, you want to write? Want to be my recorder? Sleep. Very good. What else do we have? Ollie, go ahead. Exercise. Where does that go?
Body.
In your body. That's how we take care of our bodies. Yep, you got it. How else do we take care of our bodies? Taking baths? Yeah, cleaning ourselves, taking baths or showers. I love a bubble bath.
Yeah, I just took one yesterday.
You just took one this morning. How lucky are you? You took one today too? Oh man, you guys are so lucky. What else?
Getting in the sunlight.
Oh, being in sunlight. Absolutely, being outside. Yeah, that can go into a couple different places. Yeah, there you go. Sunlight can kind of cross over some of those, right? Because it also is good for those chemicals in your brain. So it's good for your brain and your body. Playing. Where does playing fit? Personal, maybe? Yeah. Psychological, emotional. That could fit into lots of places. Let's put it in personal. That's a good one. So playing. I think having hobbies, like doing things you enjoy. That's a good one for personal. Learning. Where does learning go? Homework? Yeah, homework would go in professional, right? Because that's your schoolwork. Homework, learning can go in professional or psychological, depending on what kind of learning you're doing. That's okay. It's all good. We're just brainstorming. Grown-ups, did you have any?
A walk in the woods.
Oh, walk in the woods. Where does that go? What do you think? A lot of places, I know. Walk in the woods, I think Ellie's going to kind of overlap it. Yeah, kind of like sunlight. It's a physical, it's a psychological, it's an emotional, it might be a personal, it might be a spiritual. Maybe a walk in the woods is what we all need, friends. I think I'm going to do one of those today. Anybody else have anything? Ooh, reflecting on joyful moments. Professional. Yeah, at our jobs, absolutely. Personal, I think that could go in both. Reflecting on joyful moments. Ooh, challenging yourself. I think that maybe goes where? Where do you think? Who said that? Psychological. Yeah, it could be psychological, it could be personal. Yeah, learning how to like have that resilience when you have challenges. What you got? I see a hand. That's okay, I can come back to you.
Hanging out with animals.
Hanging out with animals. I think that's another one that fits in a lot of these. Dogs, horses, my hedgehog. Let's see, Ellie, where do you think hanging out with animals goes? I think that's another one that could kind of loop into a couple different ones. Yeah. You like hanging out with your cats? I feel like that's a spiritual experience for some of us, man. I feel like we didn't touch on a lot of the spiritual ones. What do we think about spiritual self-care? I think some of us being out in the woods. Some of us are, well, all of us are doing it right now. Going to church is spiritual self-care. Showing up here on a Sunday is spiritual self-care. Huh? I like your earrings. Wearing your church earrings on? Perfect. I love it. Reading a book. Where does reading a book go? Psychological, yeah. You're learning from reading a book. Could be emotional as well. What else we got? Josh? Meditation and prayer. That goes under spiritual, I think. Yeah, could go kind of on this side. What you got? Doing your chores. That's kind of professional, right? Also personal. Being in community. Where does being in community go? All of the above. Let's put it under personal. You're helping to get to know yourself better and your people. I love that. Hugs. Where do hugs go? Emotional. Absolutely. Hugs. Exclamation point. Hugs. What else have we got, friends? Yeah, hugs and kisses. Absolutely. Good physical touch. Anybody else got anything? What was that? Caring for another living thing. Whether that's a baby, whether that's a pet, whether that's a plant. All of the above. Caring for another living thing. Where did we put that? What? What do you think? Going crazy. Getting maybe like shaking your sillies out, moving your body. Absolutely. Dancing. I saw another hand somewhere. Oh, Mary, you said something. Gratitude. I think that may be personal or psychological, emotional. That can go in a lot of places. Practicing gratitude. Putting it right in the middle. I love it. What? Stretching. Stretching and moving your body. That's a good one for physical. What you got? Skiing. Love. Has anybody been doing that now that there's more snow again? Oh, yeah. You're doing it tomorrow. Amazing. That's so exciting. Making cards and doing like acts of kindness for people? Yeah. Going to the water park. That sounds so fun. All right. Volunteering. Where would we put volunteering? Yeah, could be like professional, personal. Could be emotional, psychological. Could be you, Ellie. You're my recorder, so I'll let you find a spot for that. Volunteering, right? We'll just put it on the outside of the circle because we're not sure. Doing good things for others. Yeah, emotional. All of the above. Yeah. Going cuckoo crazy. All right, Elliot, last one. What do you got? So pillow fights? Can we call that pillow fights? Yeah, why not? That's exercise. It's physical. Singing. We didn't say singing. Singing is good for your body. Singing is good for your brain and your heart and your spirit. So my friends, there are so many ways that we can take care of ourselves. But let's consider this wheel. Okay, we're gonna bring it back. So remember that there are all different parts of us that we have to take care of. So remember, you don't just have to take care of your body. Remember to take care of your brain and your heart and your spirit and your personal self and your work self, and do all the things that you need to do to take care of yourselves, okay? Good. Should we sing our song? All right, let's do it. And taking care of other people, absolutely.
We are children of the stars, we are children of the earth, we are spinners and weavers in this web of life, and the joy that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being. We are children of tomorrow, we are children of our dreams, we are planners and builders in this web of life, and the future that we weave reaches out beyond the stars and deep within the center of our being.
All right, my friends, let's go back to our classroom.
Okay. Speaking of self-care, now it's time for a little self-care for the congregation. My name is Dan Nolan. I'm a member of the Budget Drive Committee. You can see from my ribbon, a member of the Board of Trustees. The committee is led by Brian Beamer, who's put all this together. I have the honor of announcing the launch of this year's annual Budget Drive. This year, the theme is Light Beyond Our Walls. In times like these, when the world can feel heavy, the news is hard and relentless, divisions are real, fear and uncertainty ripple outward. And yet, here we are, gathered together, singing together, breathing together, choosing to be with one another. That matters more than we sometimes realize. Our congregation is not just a place we attend. It's a community that nurtures hope. It's where we steady one another. It's where we remember who we are and what we stand for. Together, we're resilient, and from this place, from this circle of light, we shine outward. We've seen that light in action recently. We saw it when members of this congregation sent the TC care packages to our friends in the Twin Cities, offering love and solidarity in the aftermath of increased ICE activity and deep community grief. We didn't look away, we responded. We saw it when a high school student dreamed up the Music for Meals concert, and we said yes. We opened our doors. Student musicians filled this space here with music and joy across generations. Together, we raised funds for the Northwest Michigan Food Coalition, just shy of $4,000. That's light beyond our walls. We saw it when our local LGBTQ community experienced hurt and exclusion following Mr. Fred's firing from the Catholic Church for his marriage to his husband. Together, our community set the table and welcomed him and others who were hurting with open arms. Our message rang clear and wide. You are welcome here. You belong here, always. This is what your generosity makes possible. Not just a building, not just Sunday mornings, but a living, breathing community that embodies love and shines it outward. When you came in this morning, you should have received the Budget Drive brochure and pledge form. Did they? Okay. This campaign sustains everything we do, everything. Worship, pastoral care, faith formation, justice work, music, live streaming, building upkeep, staff support, all of it. We value every way people contribute to this community, through time, through talent, through treasure, volunteering, showing up, singing, teaching, cooking, caring. And yes, financial support is what makes it possible for all those other forms of participation to flourish. We're a self-sustaining congregation, no outside funding, no denominational subsidy. What we build here, we build together. As I said, this is our congregational self-care. So I invite you to consider, what does this community mean to you? Where has it strengthened you? How might you help its light reach further. You can turn your pledge in early, and we encourage you to do that. This will avoid you receiving a friendly call from one of our 25 or so shepherds who will be each call 5 to 10 people and ask whether you plan to pledge. We're not going to ask what the amount of the pledge is, but it does help us to know whether you will pledge, or if you wish to continue putting contributions in the basket or sending contributions electronically when you can. We will also ask if you have any questions or concerns about anything in UUCGT. Also, please be aware that there are several new tax advantages this year for seniors age 65 that make it much easier to give. After the service, please stop by the budget drive table, it'll be there somewhere, in the social hall. Ask questions, learn more, and share your ideas, questions, and hopes. Please. The world does not need smaller lights right now. It needs brighter ones. It needs steadier ones. It needs communities willing to shine beyond their walls. May we be one of them. Thank you.
This may seem redundant, but it is in fact different. As a self-governing and self-sustaining congregation, we receive no outside funding. The light we shine within these walls and beyond them is sustained by the generosity of those who find meaning here. When we give, we nurture hope, strengthen community, and extend our mission into the wider world. Our ushers will now pass baskets with two sides. One side supports the life and mission of this congregation. The other supports community needs, including local food programs and shelters. You may also give using the options on the screen. If giving by check or online, please note whether your gift is for your pledge or for community needs. If you're visiting, please be our guest. Your presence is gift enough. With gratitude, we now receive this morning's offering.
See one tiny spark, still small and bright, and it's cupped around to shield its light. A single flame, born of desire, for faces turned towards its glow. Pass on the light, pass on the light, long may it shine, steady and strong. Pass on the light, pass on the light, from night to dawn, carry it on. The circle of light grows as it's passed from young hands to old and back again, sharing its wonder, wisdom of age, spreading love as it grows. Pass on the light, pass on the light, long may it shine, steady and strong. Pass on the light, pass on the light, from hand to hand, carry it on. And still it shines on, year on to year, from one tiny spark to big and clear. Each generation lighting her way, forward right through the night. Pass on the light, pass on the light, long may it shine, steady and strong. Pass on the light, pass on
and attempt to be as consistent as you can, giving yourself grace, knowing it's not going to always be consistent. The next thing is turning the phrase, treat others as you'd like to be treated around. So I like to think how I try to treat myself as I would ideally like to treat others. So that can be, for example, a lot of us probably remember those Duck commercials a few years ago, where they were showing people in a restaurant seated across another person, and an actor was speaking really harshly to the person across from them, saying very unkind things to them. And then the commercial was showing the reaction of people around them, like how that was not at all okay. And yet, for a lot of us, we do speak to ourselves in that unfriendly, harsh way. And it has an effect on ourselves. So I do try to catch myself when I'm speaking harshly, and to speak to myself as a friend might, you know. And that also includes thinking of myself, my future self, as a separate person. This is kind of a mind trick I play. So the way I think about it is, if I were with somebody and they were really struggling to get up out of a chair, would you help them? Would you try to physically help them if they couldn't get up? I see a lot of people shaking their heads, yes. And so I try to think of my future self. I'm not saying my future self is always going to be having problems, but there will be problems that arise. And as much as I can, I try to help my future self now. And so that goes back to those basics. If I try to take care of my body and my mind and my spirit, I will have less times when I'm struggling to get up out of that chair. It's not no guarantee, things will happen. But just trying to set myself up for success in the future. And I can count for lots of different self-care approaches. And then the last thing I wanted to leave you with is just exercise that I use on a regular basis that is pretty common. Raise your hands if you've heard of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindfulness technique. See quite a few hands. If you haven't, this is my way to do it, and I find it so helpful, so I hope it might help you. We're not going to do the whole thing, but I will tell you the process. We'll do a shortened version. So 5 deep breaths, from your belly, those good breaths that just really fill you up and help you slow down your mind. 4 things that you notice around you, 4 things you see. Some people pick a color and they look for 4 instances of that color in their space, or they just look for 4 things that they actually notice. 3 things that you hear, 2 things maybe that you can smell, or 2 things that you can feel the texture of, and then 1 thing that you're grateful for. So we're going to do a quick 3, 2, 1, and so if you can join me, we're going to take 3 breaths, 3 deep, slow breaths. Two things around you that you notice, or 2 colors that are standing out to you in a room. And then in your mind, 1 thing that you are grateful for today. Thank you, everyone.
our service when we name and honor the joys and concerns that were shared by our brothers and sisters over the last week. The milestones and moments of our lives offered up for us to hold in our hearts. If you have a concern that is a bit too tender to share publicly, you can reach out to Reverend Alex, or at any moment, or any member of the congregational care team who normally wears the purple ribbons on their name tags. You can also light a candle anytime during the service and honor it silently with a stone meditation, knowing that you and your concerns are embraced by this community. Nobody is meant to travel life's journeys alone. Now here are some of the things that were shared over the last week. For Ann Sweeney, celebrating Judy Davis's birthday, 7th birthday. Judy Davis, also later Judy Gamble, turned 97, the oldest living known founding member, probably connected to the Gamble Award, goes way back before my time. So happy birthday, Judy. I'm going to take my glasses off for this. From Teresa Spear, I want to express my gratitude and joy for belonging to such a wonderful and loving community as the UUCGT. Joy, wishing everyone in this whole world felt as wishing everyone in this whole world felt as loved as I did on my 80th birthday. Thank you all, Mary Van Dalen, and happy birthday, Mary. It is a big deal. From Mike and Mary, I support the people of Minnesota who experience the trauma of ICE with dignity and our immigrant neighbors living in fear of being targeted today. That's from Mike and Mary. What a joy to wear the resistance hats made by our daughter, Sarah. These hats were once outlawed, and wearing them was punishable by death in Nazi Germany. Today, there is a national shortage of red yarn. Laura Keith. And I think that is it.
Now is the time in our service for our stones meditation. As you feel moved, you're invited to come forward and to take a stone and place it in the water. a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, in a world that moves so quickly, teach us how to pause. When we feel stretched thin, remind us that we are not machines, but living beings with bodies that need rest, hearts that need gentleness, and spirits that need renewal. Free us from the myth that our worth is measured by our productivity. Help us trust that slowing down is not failure, but deep faithfulness. Give us courage to set healthy boundaries, to know when to say no. Give us compassion for ourselves when we fall short of our own expectations. May we learn to care for ourselves not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of sacred responsibility, so that we may continue to love, to serve, and to stay resilient. May we leave more whole than we've arrived. Amen.
Would you please join me in singing our song of response, Spirit of Life? Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the land, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from the book, Sacred Self-Care, Daily Practices for Nurturing Our Whole Selves, by the minister and psychologist, Dr. Shaniqua Walker-Barnes. In this excerpt, she speaks about self-care as a way of life. She writes, "In a world where we are constantly giving of ourselves to family, work, and community, there is deep wisdom in choosing to replenish our own spirits. Sacred self-care strengthens our capacity to show up fully in the world. It is not self-indulgence, it is preparation for the life we are called to live, a life of connection, justice, and compassion. Sometimes renewal requires letting go. This might mean releasing habits or tendencies that no longer serve us, perfectionism that convinces us we must be without flaw, or toxic positivity that hides our true feelings and keeps us from authentic relationships. But letting go is only part of the journey. If we simply create empty spaces, they will inevitably be filled, often by new, equally unhelpful patterns. The deeper invitation is to take on practices that enrich and sustain us, practices that lead not toward emptiness, but toward a fuller, richer life. The need for life-affirming practices is deeply personal for me. I am a two-time breast cancer survivor. from a family that has lost loved ones to the disease. Though I am cancer-free, I live daily with the awareness that life is fragile. I am also an African-American woman living in the South, carrying the generational weight of survival through injustice. In a world where the names of Black lives lost to violence become hashtags, I live daily with the awareness of the precarity of life. For me, self-care is not optional. It is a way of choosing life, a practice that ushers me toward resurrection. Self-care connects us to what is sacred. It acknowledges that we are whole beings, mind, body, and spirit, and that caring for ourselves is part of caring for the world. By embracing practices that nurture us, we become better able to live lives of purpose and love, grounded in the here and now.
In my first years of ministry as a hospital chaplain during the pandemic, I had some hard-earned lessons on just how bad I was at taking care of myself. During a time when it felt like the world was falling apart, I tried hard to just push myself through, to be resilient, so I thought, by practices that I hoped would hold me. And in my first couple of weeks, we still weren't allowed into the hospital to make in-person visits with patients. So my earliest hospital visits happened over the phone, cold calling patient rooms, and in a period of about 15 seconds, doing the following. Hi, my name's Alex. I'm a chaplain with the hospital. I don't have any medical information. No, I'm not calling you because you're about to die. And no, I'm not here to convert you. But I am wondering, how are you doing today? On occasion, you got hung up on by a patient, maybe more often than an occasion, and often they were quick to say that they weren't interested or were otherwise well supported. And this environment, with the world being on fire mixed with spiritual practices that weren't holding me, contributed to what I call my great brick wall moment of ministry. A season I remember where I was burned out, where I just couldn't push myself through. All I could do was recharge and rest the best I could, feeling like I had given everything I could and yet failed at staying resilient. For me, what I thought was working wasn't. And the spiritual practice I was engaged in, like reading shallow devotionals or isolating myself from others, weren't doing it. Self-care at this time felt more like work than it was restorative. And this defining moment of feeling the impacts of burnout on my body taught me so much about what true, resilient care for ourselves looks like. So last year, you may remember that we engaged in a daily self-care practice during the time of Lent. I don't know if many of you remember this book. Do you remember this book? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sacred Self-Care. This is my copy that's really well worn and marked up. Some lessons bear repeating and take time in order to really sink in, fully forming in us. For me, that lesson is that spiritual practice and caring for ourselves are actually one and the same. This is such a fundamentally redefining way of approaching spirituality and spiritual practice. I don't know about you, but for me, I always thought for something to be spiritual, you really had to suffer for it. Anyone else kind of think like that? Something like making yourself get up at 4 a.m. every day to read boring scripture passages, or sitting in an uncomfortable meditation posture for hours on end. The whole no pain, no gain paradigm, we're familiar with that? The spiritual lesson of spiritual practices as care for the self, and of trusting yourself to know what works for you and leaving the rest behind. That spiritual lesson has transformed my life and my ministry. It has made me a better, more compassionate, and also more resilient human being in the process. But these were lessons that took time in order to grow their roots. Our reading this morning from Sacred Self-Care, Daily Practices for Nurturing Our Whole Selves by the author and womanist theologian, Dr. Shaniqua Walker-Barnes, outlines an exploration of spiritual practices each day. And so every day, your homework is to try on a different spiritual practice and to see what sticks, as well as letting go of what doesn't. So many of you really enjoyed journeying with this group when we did it last year, coming together each week to reflect on our journeys with spiritual practice. But we even UUified the daily reflections, as the book is primarily written from a liberal Christian perspective. And Dr. Walker-Barnes even reposted a few of our UUified versions on her Substack. So I think she was pretty thrilled to see that we were engaging with her work. What I heard resoundingly, though, from this time was how much you're hungry in these times for spiritual practice, for rituals that work, for tangible reminders in our daily lives that we're part of something greater than ourselves, that we do not journey alone in these anxious days. This year, I want to expand on self-care and where that meets resilience. Often these are concepts that are used interchangeably, or we often think of them as synonymous. But resilience and self-care are actually separate things, and they exist in different dimensions. Self-care can be resilience building when it restores our connections to self, life, and others. Self-care is resilience when it widens our capacity for love and compassion with ourselves and with others. Self-care is resilience when our sense of aliveness is invigorated and we find ourselves coming more fully alive. However, self-care has a flip side. Often it is portrayed as solitary, individual. Classic paradigms of self-care talk about it as a retreat or some kind of escape, leaning into escapism. Our cup fills up only to be depleted and drained once again, repeating a cycle and requiring us to continually escape or eject ourselves from our lived realities. Self-care becomes a more defensive posture about protecting our energies rather than cultivating a sense of growth in our connectedness, our capacities to withstand the daily living in life. Self-care is often escape rather than an integration. And resilience requires weaving our lives whole in their fullest complexity, bringing us to resurrection. Our good friend, the Reverend Lucy Wachter-Webb, writes about this tension between self-care and resilience in her blog post, Resiliency, Beyond the Self-Care Paradigm. She writes, "Resiliency fundamentally links us up with the good of the whole. It connects our well-being, our safety, our vitality to the vibrancy and life force of the collective. When I was a pastor, so often I found myself escaping into resiliency practice. It was only accessible when I went fully away. A week on retreat, a day in the woods, a quiet day at home to knit and write. These practices were restorative, and they did reestablish safety for me to find myself again. But they were not often accessible to me in the everyday." She includes this comic by the artist Deanna Zant titled "The Unspoken Complexity of Self-Care." You can kind of see this up on the screen. For those of you that can't quite see it, if you're subscribed to my Substack, you'll be able to see this image again with my sermon that comes out each week. But it kind of outlines these different dimensions of what self-care can look like. As we go through life living in a state of constant urgency, we rush to resolve tension and discomfort. We move fast rather than taking it slow, which is the work of resilience. We overly rely on our words, intellectualizing the compartments of our lives and disconnecting ourselves from our bodies in the process. In order to be resilient as people, we need to grow in our capacity for connection, even when connection is difficult. Who remembers our UU spiritual practices from Soul Matters with the Reverend Scott Taylor? Anyone remember those 3 spiritual practices? Looks like we might need a refresher, so I've got a slide here prepared. If we can go to the next one. This should help jog your memory, but we're talking a lot about embodiment today, and there are actually little embodied practices that go with each of these. Does anyone think they remember those? Well, let's do them together. So if you join me, the first one, listening to our deepest selves, opening to life's gifts, and serving needs greater than our own. Very good. Starting to come back a little. You'll notice that these practices are actually all spiritual practices rooted in resilience. All of these practices are connection points to self, life, and others. Our UU spiritual practices of deep listening and routinely connecting ourselves to others and the greater whole are all practices in resiliency. It's no wonder that our congregation, even on a snowy day, is booming in these times, with attendance being up and often it being pretty hard to find a seat some Sundays. Amen? In these times, we're so very hungry for connection, for a place that reminds us that we're not alone. Our mission as a church is also connected to resilience. If we could go to the next slide here. You'll notice that one of our core areas is embodying radical love. Love is something that we put into practice within our bodies. All 4 of these mission areas are actually about connection as well. All those amazing mission moments we've recently had as a community come into being out of an outpouring of our resilience together. TC to TC, music for meals, books on the bus, Mr. Fred. So many more of these experiences. These all go beyond a self-soothing dimension into areas of community and structural care, light beyond our walls. This kind of care is not self-depleting. It becomes collective and communal. It restores us just as much as it connects us to life and to others. We have a spiritual need to be connected as human beings, to do our bit of good in our small corners of the world to make life a better place. Dr. Walker Barnes uses the framework of self-care a lot, but I believe she's really pointing to resilience. In her view, self-care is grounded in survival, not luxury, money, or hustle culture. For marginalized bodies, restoration is not an optional luxury. It is a vital necessity. So to close, in this Lenten season, I invite you, if we could go to the next slide there, I invite you to journey with these different categories of resilience and self-care. Self-soothing, self-care, community, and structural care. I invite you to pause and notice what practices you engage with in the day-to-day. This is a time of sacred examination, of setting intentions. Notice what practices bring you into greater connection with self, life, and others. But notice also what practices bring you distance, that isolate you or pull you away from connection. Notice also how these practices feel in your bodies, the sensations they bring, where even in your body that you feel these sensations arise in you. For me, that great brick wall moment of ministry manifested in this soreness in my stomach, like I had been punched in the gut and couldn't breathe. And I needed better practices that helped me to feel my way through this soreness into healing, journaling, meditation, prayer, moving my body each day. As a minister, I've learned that my self-care needs to be wider than just individual retreats and unplugging. It must also be restorative and connective. It must build on the resilience of my body, mind, and spirit, but it also must bring me back to life and resurrection. So as you navigate these trying times, these hard days ahead, don't lose your capacity for love, for compassion, for connection. These powers and forces are doing all they can to isolate you and terrify you and to make you feel alone. They encourage you to disconnect or to seek those quick fixes with consumerism or luxurious escapes. Choose resilience. Choose survival. choose the wisdom in your own body. That's the role that you and our church play in today's world, to be a place where we practice another way, a better way, where we refuse to let those forces of hatred, division, and disconnection have the final say. You're not alone in these times. Any single rope can break easily, but with many resilient strands, that's a rope that will endure. Bless you on your journey. Amen. Let's go now to a brief moment of stillness together.
So I'm envisioning that this closing song is going to be kind of a jam session / dance party. So I invite you to inhabit a space that feels comfortable for you. I invite you to clap and stomp and dance. And I have 3 easy parts that go along with this. So if you'll repeat after me, the first part is a chant. So even those of you that think that maybe you're not a singer, this part you can do. And it goes like this. I'll start it off and you can echo after me. We are unstoppable. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. Another world is possible. It's like we're speaking into existence. Now all together. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. So you could repeat that. I'm going to layer that line in first. The next part goes like this. It doesn't have to be 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 like this. So that part I'll layer in second, and you could sing that one if you want, and just keep singing it. The third part goes like this. Today, another world is possible. Today, another world is possible. Today, another world is possible. So I'll kind of layer those in one at a time, and you can sing or chant whatever you want, I think. So would you please join me, rise in body and spirit, inhabit your space wherever you'd like that to be. Another
remain standing, I invite you to either join hands with your neighbor as you're comfortable. We also have the symbol of please do not touch me if you're someone that doesn't like to be touched. Maybe you're a little bit far away to join a hand with someone. And maybe you online would like to join us in this practice as we join our hearts together.
As we release the flame, let us remember the message of Dr. Shaniqua Walker Barnes that sacred self-care is not self-indulgent, but rather the sustenance of our resilience, enabling us to continue our loving service to others.
And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, may we be made ready to serve one another and create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace. Happy Sunday. Pass a little squeeze or an Air 5. Grow in love.